What is the profile of your students and how has this changed over the last number of years?
A lot of the students who are coming into us now, their needs are very different. They want to get back into the workforce, they're unemployed, and they need English language skills to help them to access either employment or further education and training. So they need more than just basic English. They need to work on their reading, their writing, their listening, their speaking. They need and they need a progression route. So it's changed very much.
Okay, how do you place your students into groups?
We used to use the quick placement test, the Oxford Quick Placement Test, and what we found was that first of all, I think a lot of the students had access to the test themselves before they came into us, because it's a very common document. So what I found generally was when people did that test, they scored higher than their actual ability. And then when we put them into classes, it wasn't the right level. It also didn't test their writing skills. And that was something that we found that tutors found difficulty with in class, because people were writing English phonetically and the spelling was an issue. So what I did with some of my colleagues in the ETB was we sat down with the Oxford Cambridge placement test, and we had a look at the Department of Education and Skills in the UK and what they used. We also looked at the Headways books, and we came up with our own assessment based on that. So what we do is we would meet our students for a chat, and we would talk to them. We would go through a series of graded questions, but in a nice informal conversation, and then we'd ask them to write something. And once we've done that, we have an idea of their grammar level, their speaking level, their fluency, their accuracy, and their writing.
There are people waiting, but there's a lack of funding, because the funding for ESOL is through the Adult Literacy Community Education budget, and an adult literacy organiser has to balance between ESOL and literacy learners and other, needs. Yes. So would you say, in your opinion, there's a lack of funding?
There is no ring-fenced funding at all for ESOL. And as you were saying before in your introduction, it's like you're taking from one needy group to give to another needy group. And how do you do that? How do you say you're entitled to education and you're not entitled to education? It's an unfair situation. Yeah. At the moment, I'm working in the literacy service, so the levels we can offer are limited. We would, when students come in, if they are a very beginner student, we start them off on a kind of A0, A1 course, and that would be the Headways beginner book. Okay. And that's the book we use because we find it very good. Now, we supplement it with authentic material. We try and bring in as much as we can from the locality, from school, from even like small job ads, to try and bring in colloquial English and the English of the locality. But our main focus would be the beginner book, the Headways beginner book. So
as your core text?
As our core text, absolutely. So we bring students through that. And once they finish that, we would put them into an elementary class, and again let them do the Headways elementary book.
Okay, are they working towards certification in your elementary level?
No, once they finish their elementary, what we do is a FETAC level 3. And because, as we spoke before, the FETAC level 3 has gaps in it, we try and we have developed that a little bit to bring in the world of work and the world of further education. So we use that as a platform for students to be able to do interviews. So there's a lot of interview skills in that, a lot of looking online for jobs, a lot of looking in the local papers for jobs. As I'm sure you know, ESOL is very underfunded, so the funding we have goes for classes and placement, and there isn't an awful lot of funding or time left to do that, but we have made certain efforts into the community. For example, with the DESH school, we work with those. In Tipperary town, which is a disadvantaged area, what we've done is we've worked with another school there and we've worked with parents, but there's also a community house in the area. And what happened was we had a group of level 3s who had finished their level 3 FETAC, and that was as far as we could bring them in the literacy service. So what we did was we introduced them to the community house, and they go there one morning a week now, and they have coffee and they have informal English conversation classes with people from the community. It was interesting because only yesterday we met with a group from Stock, and they have classes in Care, which is another one of our towns, and they work as volunteers, and they work also with transition year students. And what they do is they have informal classes, for people in the community. And the thing about them is they haven't had very much formal ESOL training. So they've asked us if we could put on just a small little bit of training to help them. Now, we don't have the resources to train them as ESOL tutors, but we can be there as a support for them and a link in from the community.
It is. Do you feel sometimes ESOL tutors are disheartened, as in they're looking to move into other areas because they wonder if ESOL is going to develop as it should, or as recommendations were made in 2008?
And I do, and I see that with colleagues and with people I know in different areas of the country where they have tried to move out of ESOL because of that reason, because it doesn't seem to have very much status within an ETB. It's not something that is recognised as being very serious nationally.
Okay, and how would you like to see ESOL developed?
Well, I think it would be great if ETBs could work together to come up with a common assessment, to come up with common exams that were affordable and that students had access to, because I think we have FETAC level 3. That's the only accreditation we offer at the moment. We've looked into the Cambridge exams. They're expensive, and that's the only reason we don't use them, is that they're expensive. They're excellent. They're there, but we don't have the money. I think I would love to see more affordable exams being offered to students, or different, even if we had FETAC level 1 and 2 and we had a review of FETAC level 3, because I think there's some parts of level 3, like going to a restaurant, that I think we could we could teach more relevant things.
It's not as specific,
when booking a hotel.
But they that has been pulled out, that part, the way.
But the restaurant is still there, and it's still one of the skills demonstrations. So 25% of the skills demonstrations of FETAC level 3 is asking somebody to go in and order food in a restaurant, and our remit is please get them ready for further education and employment. There's no correlation there. I think, as Mary Kenny was saying before, a lot of people who are coming into the service of the ETB would like to either change careers, get recognition for the qualifications that they have, and be able to use them. So I think they do need, they do need the grammar, and they do need the reading and the writing, and I think it's very important that they should be able to get that for their own lives and for our country and for our economy. It's really important to tap into. I mean, it's amazing all the qualifications that people come over to Ireland with, and we have those qualifications here, but people aren't being allowed to use them because they're not given the opportunity.
It is.